Rape by colleagues in the workplace is a serious issue that involves sexual assault or coercion occurring between employees. Now, this can take many forms, including unwanted sexual advances, harassment, or even physical assault. Such incidents create a hostile work environment and can have severe psychological and emotional impact on the victims. Now, it's essential for organizations to implement strict policies against sexual harassment and assault, providing training for employees and ensure that there are clear reporting mechanisms in place. Now, these victims should feel safe to report incidents without fear or retaliation. Now, additionally, raising awareness and fostering a culture of respect and consent is crucial in preventing such abuses in the workplace. Hello and welcome to Inside Today. I am Jumai Manson. I am being joined by broadcast journalist. His name is Tunji Oyeleke. Do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned. That human angle topic on family, marriage, peer pressure, drug and substance abuse, societal issues, women and children, and so much more. Now, it's crucial to approach these subjects with empathy and understanding. These issues often intertwine with societal norms and can lead to tough conversations. It is important to create a safe space for dialogue where individuals can share their experiences without fear or judgment. I am Jumai Manson. Join me every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the program Inside Today on Global Television. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Inside Today on Global Television, and today we're looking at a very sensitive topic. It's all about workplace rape. Now, the challenges of trauma and healing. Now, this could be very awkward, right? Especially when you have to see the person or interface with the individual who committed this ungodly act of rape. Now, it's very essential that we understand that this is a very sensitive topic. And now, of course, we all know about the issue that made rounds in the course of the weekend that happened about there's this media personality known as Omotunde Adebowale David, known as Lolo, who came out and said she was raped 6 years ago by her colleague. And right now, as we speak, the individual is a prominent individual in the broadcast industry. And people might be wondering and saying to her, why didn't you come out then? Why is it now, after 6 years, when this act took place? Well, some people find it very traumatic. Some people find it very hard to heal from such incidents. Now, an employee is someone that you can trust, someone that you work every day with. And now for that employee to commit that sort of abuse on an individual is something that an individual cannot forget in a hurry. And like I mentioned, I am joined by a broadcast journalist known as Tunji Oyeleke, and he's here and he will be talking and relating on this particular issue, that is workplace rape, and of course the challenges of trauma and healing. There are different psychological and emotional response to workplace rape, and then of course this impacts a victim's ability to function in their daily life and work environment. Individuals who are raped cannot come out of such incidents easily. It takes a while. It takes a lot of psychological and emotional help for these individuals to come out safe and sound from that. But how well would an individual relate with that individual is something that beats my mind. All right, now let's go on a very quick break before our guest joins up on the program. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned. All right, you're welcome back from that very quick break. And I mentioned before, I'm being joined by a broadcast journalist, my very good friend, Tunji Oyeleke. Tunji, how are you doing today? All right, Tunji, it's great to have you on the program. Now, let us talk briefly about workplace rape. Let's talk briefly about it, and of course, the challenges of trauma and healing.
Yeah, it's I mean, when I read that piece, I can't say it's the first time that I ever came across such. I have seen it severally happening. Maybe not on the scale that she was, referring to, but this is not new in the space. In Nigeria, we have been talking about sexual and gender-based violence, and you also know that we have been talking about a lot of the issues that women have to go through, especially in their workplaces. I mean, the Natasha issue brought to light, a lot of the things that happen unreported, in places of work. And let's not also forget that even students in institutions of higher learning are also going through a lot of that issue. It's very much underreported, but it doesn't mean it's not happening. So Lolo's issue, being a colleague, it's very unfortunate. And to think that it happened with a colleague, someone that you work together, you have to see that person every day. It's very, very traumatizing. And I can totally understand how she felt or how she has been feeling over the years. I only wish that the system that we operate in this country is more open and it is more empathetic to people who have suffered this kind of situations. And it's sad that when it comes to rape, the first
Let's
question
say
that we
something,
usually ask,
Tunji. Sorry to
okay,
interject, but do you think this case of Natasha has actually it's an eye opener for so many women who have gone through this sort of when it comes to abuse, although she wasn't raped, but a lot of women are now aware that, hey, this is an abuse on me. So coming out and talking about it, do you think it's way overdue? This happened 6 years ago. Like, seriously, Tunji, are you kidding me?
of course, the Natasha issue has brought to light a lot of the innocent comments that we pass as human as men. There are some things I may say to you. In fact, while we worked together previously, you would agree that you know as friends, as close colleagues, we'll just pass some comments at each other. Everybody will laugh about it. But now there's a realization that it's not every comment that you make that you are even meant to make. If you relate this to Lolo's case, the rape issue, which happened 6 years ago. Now, if you look at Nigeria 6 years ago, the whole rape situation wasn't as the advocacy level is not as high, it is not as serious as what it is today. It's not as loud and it's not as projecting as it is today. Today, there is a lot of awareness about it. There are lots of people, there are lots of organizations, there are lots of of individuals who have come together, and there is louder advocacy about rape now, support mechanisms for victims of rape, survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. There's a lot of noise about it now, and thank God that there are some state governments like Lagos State who 6 years ago, I don't think they had that register, that sexual predators register that they have today. 6 years ago, I don't think they had it, but they have it now. So more states need to actually follow that line, and we need to stop this mentality of, oh, we want to cover up the whole, say, oh, please don't report it. You are going to mess up the family name. Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. Oh, we don't want to be embarrassed in public. No, the victim is going through a lot of trauma. Like Lolo said, after it happened, a lot of, you know, reflection, you have to, she now begins to question herself that why? Denial, self-denial, like she said, all those things happen. That's the truth. It does happen. And it is very, very possible that whoever that, even though she gave out some clue about who the person is anyway, but it's a case of if you know, that's how she gave out that information. And it's a case, it's possible that that person was even a superior. They may be working together, but that person may be a superior. So how do you begin to report that superior? That is the question. Oh, who will believe me? That's another issue. Who will believe me? If I say anything, won't I be the target? And in media, I'm sorry to say this, but in the media space, it's like a dog eat dog situation. The very moment you begin to make accusations against somebody, you become the victim, you become the target. They begin to look for how to rubbish you, they begin to look for how to kick you out, and all of that. So Lolo did go through a lot. I can understand exactly how she went. And in the media space, for this to have happened in the media space, there's a lot more that I wish I could delve into, but for the kind of conversation that we're having, it's better not to do that. But there needs to be lots of sanitation, especially in the media space. And I'm talking radio, I'm talking TV. In fact, in the society, there is a lot of sanitation that needs to go on. A lot of more advocacy needs to go on. We need to be empathetic to the victims of rape. We need to be empathetic. The system, I cannot go report rape in the police station. And the first question the officers are asking me over the counter is, waiting carry you go there. I mean,
Exactly.
what, what kind of question
Exactly.
is
Now,
that?
Tunji, I want to
Oh, what
interject a
were you
bit. You know, when
wearing?
you
Were
hear
you,
cases of rape, someone will
yeah,
come out and tell you, why did you wear that? Or what did you
exactly.
do? Or like you mentioned, in the Pigeon Palace, waiting carry you go there. Is that why many
Yeah.
women are actually shy or skeptical about talking about rape, basically?
Yes, judgments. We live in a very judgmental society. The society is too judgmental. I mean, we live in a society where the elder brother who is not as rich as the younger brother will be made to open drinks for everybody. And they'll say, oh, if this person is not here, we cannot start the meeting simply because he has money. That's the kind of society we are living in. Nobody cares how you make your money. Nobody cares how you become rich. You have to be rich or you are nobody. That's the kind of society we live in. I cannot understand. Look, even if, okay, for example, you want to ask, if you go to Miami Beach in the summer, everybody's almost naked. So why is there no so much rape on the beach? Why are we saying because everybody is dressing naked, then because she's dressing half naked, does that mean you should rape her? That means you do not have self-control. You are a
Exactly.
predator. You should be locked away. You should be in the prison somewhere with the trees where the keys of your cell should be thrown away because you are a threat to the society. Okay, for example, now what a 6 month old baby or a 3 year old baby that in fact because of the heat that we're in now, they are probably only in diaper as we speak. What kind of sexual arousal should a normal human being have when such a baby is there? So it's not about, to me, it is not about them dressing provocatively. It's about your mind. What is in your mind? What are your intentions? Not, I mean, it's a crazy society that we live in, that the victim becomes the accused.
I want to say
Look
something.
at,
A workplace is a
yeah.
place, is just like home for some, where you come together. These are people that you can relate with. You're safe around. You can tell all sorts of things to. They can come to your house. But when this sort of thing happens in a workplace, now specifically, the impact a victim's sense of safety and security both within and outside the workplace. Now, how does this affect the individual? We're taking it back to the workplace now. How does rape in the
Yes.
workplace significantly impact a victim's sense of safety and security? Let's say both within the workplace and outside the workplace.
The truth of the matter is, in any workplace, if this ever happens in a workplace, then the organization has failed totally. The organization has failed. The organization has failed. Let me just leave it at that, because the organization is responsible for screening every individual that they employ. The organization is responsible to ensuring that there is a very good working environment for the staff. And like you said, If someone like me, I mean, I'll always go back to when you and I worked together. You realize that we spent nothing less than 6 hours together in the office with our other colleagues. And when you dedicate 6 hours of your life to a particular place every day in a week, that place becomes home for you. So if that place that becomes home for you becomes a place where you have to be looking over your shoulder every time, you have to be scared about what people do, then the organization has failed. I'm so there's no apology that should be said. A workplace is meant to be a place of people should feel secure where they work, because that is the only way you can determine, or you can have a maximum productivity. But where people are come, they are scared, they cannot approach people, or they see somebody and then they are scared to approach that person, or to even walk across the same hallway with that person, then the organization has failed. There is nothing more to say, on situations like that. We just have to say it the way it is. The organization has failed and they really need to check themselves again.
Long term of these consequences. Now, of course, for Lolo, who is the broadcast media that was raped, she says her boss right now, as we speak, is a prominent individual in the broadcast industry. Now, some of these things you
I'm sorry,
mentioned.
there was a disconnection there. What did you say? Could
Okay,
you come
can you
back
hear me
again?
now,
Could you say
Tunji?
that again? Yes, yes.
Okay. I said for someone like Lolo, who is a broadcast journalist who didn't speak out till after 6 years when this particular issue happened to her, she said right now as we speak, the person that raped her is a prominent individual in the media space right now as we speak. Now, for some individuals who go through this sort of issue, because the boss that rapes them is a big shot when it comes to broadcast media. Now, how do you think that relationship will actually go play along? Because one, this individual is a big shot, and you are, compared to where she is now. Then she was growing at that point. But at the same time, do you think now we shouldn't burn bridges, right? But at the same time, how do you think that relationship will be? How will you this is the person that actually committed this particular act of rape, that relating with that individual, how do you think it's going to look like?
I mean, it's sad because there is no relationship there. There is no relationship there. And just like I said earlier on, she didn't want to expose that person so that she, at least, we should be commending Lolo, because you didn't, you didn't, you didn't mess up another person's, it's humanity, forgiving those that hurt us. That is humanity. She is more human than a lot of us, because a lot of us will you spoil my own. You want to go, you want to succeed. You cannot succeed. As you spoil my own, I'll spoil your own. But Lolo wasn't like that. And the fact remains that that person, like I said, was probably a senior colleague at that point. Who would should be like, nobody would believe her. Who would believe the fact that this person raped me, and all of that. So she didn't want to expose all of those things. And it's unfortunate that, we're just probably going to sweep this under the rug also. We're just going to go on with normal life, and Lolo will continue to live with the pain that she has felt over these years. I hope she heals. But like I said, it's a case where, um, sorry about that. This is a case where um, society just needs to come to our aid. Society just needs to come to the aid of women in society. Society needs to come to the aid of individuals who need therapy, people who need to heal. There needs to be justice in society. I mean, it's just, I'm fine. I'm feeling her pain, and I'm short of the words to actually use at this point.
Really, Tunji? You're feeling her pain. But now, talking about
I'm
pain, I want to
feeling
put you on the spot. Why is it more rampant with female being raped than the male folk in the workplace? Look at the smile on your face. I'm sure you have a very apt answer to all of this. Because some women are too shy or ashamed to come out and say, hey, I was being raped by a colleague, or she's being raped by her boss, or being raped by someone close to her, but she can't even mention it. But why is it so rampant when it comes to these issues? It's more rampant with the female than the male.
Yeah, first of all, our society is patriarchal in nature. It's male dominated, let's put it that way. So there is that little tiny voice of the women who want to be heard. So we are doing all that we can to ensure that there's gender equality and gender equity in everything that we do because of the masculine nature of society. But I tell you, it is because we report more. Okay, it's like this. Gender and sexual-based violence is underreported in Nigeria. And despite the underreporting of this sexual and gender-based violence, women's cases are more. But there are lots of men who are suffering it also. Lots of guys, a lot of boys who are suffering this that is even less reported than that of the women. So you can imagine how underreported sexual and gender-based violence is in Nigeria. It's really, really bad. Because if you go to our local communities, a lot is happening there that we do not even know about. Until we go there, we will never know. So it sounds more like it is more women. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, men are also being raped as much as or the way women are. No, I'm not going to sit there. But it's just because we hear more of women. More women are coming out to speak now, because I mean, it is not to be heard that a man is being raped. Hey, begin to hear.
We want
Which
to say
can't
the
talk be
man does
that
not
one
have
for
self-control.
reasons best to be. A lot of men don't. That's just the truth. A lot of men don't. A lot of men feel that they can sleep with everything. I should have every woman in the world. That is how a lot of men feel. But you can't have, because if you think you can have every woman, you just die and die for nothing. That's the truth of the matter. You can't do everything. You can't do everything. But a lot of men feel that way, which should not be. It's unfortunate. But I think we as parents, I think parents need to do more. We need to go back to the drawing board. We young parents and aspiring parents, we need to go back to the drawing board. And I wonder for the kind of parents that we are actually going to be having now. If you go by what is happening on social media today, you begin to wonder, what kind of parents are we going to be having in the next 10, 15 years? I'm scared for parenting as far as Nigeria is concerned, going by the nature of youths and young people that we have today. I'm truly scared. And I just pray that we get it right. But as parents, we need to get it right. We need to ensure that the boys we are that we are breeding are boys that should understand that not everything in skirts or in skimpy clothes should be chased. No, no.
Well said, Tunji Oyeleke, well said. But remember, let's not forget that the male folk too, some are raped too by these female folks. Let's not forget it's versa vis. So it's a balance that I think self-control applies to both the male and the female, because sometimes the female actually harass their colleagues sexually in the workplace. I know some that they might, now that you said it's now an intense seriousness now, because has given us, Senator Natasha Akpoti has given women all over the world an eye-opening that there are some things that you should not tolerate, or some things that you can allow slide or you cannot allow slide. It depends. But at the same time, there's someone out there, Tunji, who was raped by her colleague and she's scared to come out and say something. How can she heal from that in a minute? Say something to that person.
In a minute, she should just. There are people she can actually report to. There are people she can speak with. For the lady that has been raped or the lady that has been sexually harassed, there are people you can talk to. I'm not in a position to start naming any people or any organizations now, but just go on Google search, and you will find them. like in Kaduna where I'm located, there are units that in almost every police station, every police division that you go to, there are there are rape desks where you can report to. So they should not keep this thing to themselves. People, it's a crime against humanity. It's a
Exactly.
crime against yeah, a crime against. So, ladies, women, please don't keep this thing to yourself. Don't say because you are trying to protect your family name or you are trying to protect one thing or the other, you believe with that pain and guilt. It's not your fault. It's not your fault you got raped. Don't keep it to yourself. Speak out. Let's read our society. Let's make it more obvious to people out there that rape is wrong. In
Very
fact, it's a
true.
punishable
Very
crime in
true.
other parts of the world.
All right,
Yes, let's
Tunji.
not. In fact, just finally, we also need stronger laws. We need stronger laws. We need stronger institutions. You can't try this, in other parts of the world. So let's not condone these things. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Tunji Oyeleke. And he is a broadcast journalist. Thank you so much for being a part of the program Insight today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
And with
having
that,
me.
we have to wrap it up on the program Inside Today. And of course, talking about rape in the workplace, challenges of trauma and healing. Well, seek help where you can, speak out when you can. Rape is something that should never be taken lightly. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program Inside Today. I am Jubai Manson. Have an amazing day ahead. Bye-bye. That human angle topic on family, marriage, peer pressure, drug and substance abuse, societal issues, women and children, and so much more. Now, it's crucial to approach these subjects with empathy and understanding. These issues often intertwine with societal norms and can lead to tough conversations. It is important to create a safe space for dialogue where individuals can share their experiences without fear or judgment. I am Jumai Manson. Join me every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the program Inside Today on Global Television.